Hello and welcome to the next edition of the New Junction Garden Railway. As you can see, we've got some visitors. And aren't they impressive? Right, let's get on with the update. So, welcome back to the garden. It does feel like a few months yet again, it has been a few months yet again since the last update, and I always have an excuse for you, but this time it's not the weather. So as you can see, we've had a new addition. So this is New Junction's new mini junction in the New Junction garden. Anyway, enough of that. So now it's time to show you the progress on the garden railway, but I'm going to do it from above. So, the view from above is quite fun. As you can see, this is the entire length of the garden railway. So, we start with this section here, the main station, which has yet to have a station put in. There's been quite a bit of clearing done there. The corner at the back here, that's probably the hardest zone to keep clean because it's the lowest area of the railway and gets so overgrown. Then we come along the main straight, underneath the big laurel. Now, the laurel itself is quite easy to look after, however, there's a lot of it. And the track there needed a bit of settling. It was a bit bumpy in places. And since last time we've tackled some of the track work. Coming round the Hebe bush here, you can see I've got my S-bend snake. In terms of maintenance, it's been, again, quite simple. Believe it or not, I think because it's tucked behind such a big bush, there's not been too much debris on the track. So as we come out of the main straight in front of the pond, there has been quite a bit of debris here, mainly because we're surrounded by all these big conifer trees. So, nice bit of maintenance, clear the track. So as you can see, this main conifer here is easily as high as the drone is high. Currently, you are level with the top of this conifer, and you can see how tall you are. Oddly though, underneath hasn't been too bad in terms of debris. Yes, you get the odd load of foliage and things easily blown off with the leaf blower, as has the entire layout, as you can see. Coming over to the big loop now, you can probably see it's now double tracked. There were a few lumps and bumps in it the previous time. That's because a lot of the track wasn't pinned in properly, but now it's looking much better. I just have to join all the pieces of track together with stripped pieces of wire. Also, I'm now going to show you what I've done to the very tight corner where I had the derailments in the previous episode. So coming into the main circle, as you can see, this is where I had all of the trouble on the last episode, particularly in this corner. Now as you can see, I'm tucked right down here now because this is the highest point of the railway and the point where I feel the smallest. All I had to do, I don't know if you can quite see from that angle, the curve has been much more relaxed. I have slightly moved some of the woodwork outwards, and as you can see, it's much more gradual, and it's looking like a really nice teardrop. So now it's time to come and see what I've got here, because I've got an 08 with some freight which is full of some goodies, and I'm going to show you what I've been doing next. So here we are with my engineer's train. Now I've changed what's in the turbot wagon at the back here because I have some DCC Concepts liquid flux, and I've also got something from them to try, which is solder paste. I'm looking forward to trying that instead of normal wired solder, just to see how I get on. I've got a little paintbrush, and what you can see I'm doing, which I will say now, I should have done when I started laying the track, when the track was clean. So as you can see here, I'm actually joining each piece of rail with small loops of wire. This is because in the garden, drilling holes to a bus wire probably isn't the best for the structure. So we're going to rely on the rails to carry the signal for the locomotives running around, and of course the power. In time, the fish plates, which initially carry the power, will lose their conductivity, so we need the wire soldered. And my new top tip for a garden railway is to do this stage as early as possible with the track to stop running issues. Right, let me show you how I do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is using this solder paste, which is new to me, but I got it from DCC Concepts. Is just syringe a little bit onto each end, as you can see here, and then grabbing the soldering iron, I'm just going to heat it up underneath the blob, and it leaves a lovely tinned wire. It'll be nice and quick, and there we go, because that gets very hot. Next I'm going to take some of their DCC Concepts liquid flux. Not sure if you need to use it or not, but I always do. Nice little brush, and I'm just going to dab on a bit on the 2 points where I want my solder to stick. So I'm going to try and roughly have it in position. So I'm going to place it there, and I'm just going to touch the soldering iron onto the wire until it goes through to the track. Just needs to heat back up. There we go. So I'm now going to curl the other side round. Oh, that was a hot rail. I'm going to attempt to do this on camera. Let's go. Tell you what, let's swap hands. Now there'll be people out there who can do this with their eyes closed. Sadly, I'm not one of them. So you have to put up with this amateur effort. And there we go. That's quite a strong bond now. And of course, the reason you have the loop is because as the track expands and contracts, if it moves and flexes, it won't pull the solder off, and a wire will go. Otherwise, you do it straight. So in the previous episode where I said I'm going to solder the track together, this is what I meant, not literally the rails. Right, while I get on with this, because as you can imagine it's going to take some time, I wanted to know, because I have an out and back layout, is there a way with some electrical wizardry that I can automate this layout without the expense of a computer or supercontroller or things like that? And I'd heard a rumour that DCC Concepts up in Settle had the answer, so I paid them a visit. So I'm here in DCC Concepts in Settle, and I'm joined by Richard.
Hello.
Who's going to talk to me about Shuttle, the shuttle system you sell.
Yeah.
Now I want to use this on my garden railway.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a dead end loop really.
Yeah.
So how will it benefit me? Or I suppose let's start again. What is the shuttle system?
So a shuttle system is a method of getting a DCC controlled locomotive to either slow, stop, or stop then return, depending on the configuration that you set it to do. It will always do it at a realistic way. So we've all seen shuttles with DC where the locomotive skids to a halt and then goes at full speed the other way. That's not what this is about. This is about giving a realistic stop, pause and return, so you get a proper shuttle. And that is compatible with all decoders that are ABC enabled with shuttle functionality. There aren't many that have the shuttle functionality. All our Zen Blacks do.
And I'm of course going to be using your Buddha decoder.
Yep.
which is a Zen Black, I believe.
It is a Zen Black, yes.
Yeah.
It's got that functionality in there, yeah.
And massive stair lives.
Yes.
So what are some of the features I can expect from it for my garden?
Okay, so I've got one feature here. This is the stop function. So you see the Class 128 is there. The lights are on. It's not going anywhere. That's stationary. The controller is actually set, if I can just come up here, stay away from you a little bit. So
because I smell.
Well, this controller, I don't know whether your camera can get it because it's quite a way away, but this controller is set to speed step 40. So that locomotive should be moving at speed step 40, but it's not. That's because this is being held by the signal here. Now this is a pseudo signal, it's actually a switch, but a normal signal on the layout would be controlled by a switch anyway, so we'll just use that as a signal at the moment. That's currently in the red position, which means this loco is not moving anywhere. If you flick that switch, if I just put that down, if you flick that switch to green, and the switch is perfectly fine because we sanitised it.
We did.
You'll notice that this locomotive then starts moving. So that's a manual stop. Okay. If you flick it back to red again, when it's on the way back, it will stop again at that point. This is the other end of this. This is a shuttle. So this locomotive has now stopped on this section. It's now going to wait for 10 seconds, which is the default time. You can set it for anything up to 128 minutes if you want to, but I don't think you would. It will then return back from whence it came. The lighting has changed because it's received a direction change command from the decoder. That will then go into the signal section and it will again stop there. That board is also controlled and switched out by the point on that junction. Which means if the point was set against the locomotive, it would also stop automatically before it got to the frog and it wouldn't create the short then. If now you set the signal to green again, that will send the locomotive going. You can also have a station stop, so it stops, waits X seconds and continues in the same direction. So you can have stop and wait, stop and continue, stop and return. You can also have slow. So for example, if you've got a distance signal, you can set it so that if the distance signal is at danger, the train approaches the distance signal and slows to say speed step 20, approaches the danger signal and will stop. But then when you release the danger signal, then it goes back the other way.
So in theory, you could use that in a sort of a practical sense. So there's points on my garden rail which some of the curves are quite tight.
Yes.
I could slow a train down for that bit and it can go into a slow section.
Yeah, and then it can then come off the ABC section at the other end of that curve, which would then return to the programmed speed that you've put into the controller.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. So, with your shuttle system, in theory, I'll be able to fit a Buddha decoder to, say, a DMU.
Yes.
And I'll be able to leave that on an automatic, almost automatic shuttle. While also being able to control a loco of my choice also going around.
If the other loco isn't programmed to recognise the ABC sections, it will run completely normally over those sections and won't interact with them. In the same way, the DMU that's got the Buddha decoder in, if you take it onto a non-ABC section, will run exactly as per normal. And then that functionality is you can turn that on and off with a simple CV change. So if at a point you don't want it to react to the ABC, you just go into the settings and turn that function off. In the same way as the speed and the acceleration and the deceleration and the wait times are all customizable. And that's all included in the manual that comes with the decoder.
Wonderful. I suppose finally, what bits do I need to install a shuttle system?
The Buddha shuttle pack.
Yeah.
So what you've got in there is you've got the Buddha decoder and you've got 3 ABC boards, and that's all you need. That's it. You're set up to go, and that's £99.95.
Wonderful. And that's of course the O gauge version.
That's the O gauge version. Yeah. We've got the double O version, which is around £55. It's got exactly the same content in there, just a smaller decoder. It's just got the 1.1 amp decoder rather than the 5 amp decoder.
Wonderful. And of course, if anyone else wants to install a shuttle system, they can find it on your website, which is dccconcepts.com.
That's right, just go to dccconcepts.com.
Look at that.
If you want full detail, then actually just go to the search facility and type in Zen Black Manual. There's a 40-odd page guide there of exactly how to install it and what everything does. And we've even gone as far as describing individually, CV by CV, what every single setting does on there.
And of course, if you're like me and slightly inept, you can just come down and visit the showroom and talk to yourself.
We're open whenever you need us, just give us a ring. Alternatively, you can just go to our website, there's a contact us form and you can send us a quick mail on there. Or we're on Facebook and you can drop us a line on there as well. So you can get in touch with us.
You're around.
Yeah, we're about.
Wonderful. Well, Richard, thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
So welcome back to the garden. That was a bit of a trek, but well worth it, and I thank the guys very much at DCC Concepts for their expertise. Right, I've come home with the goodies, and Lulu's come to join me as we try and add the modular shuttle system onto the layout here. The reason I've brought you to the station end is it makes sense really. I want the train to start here, go all the way around the layout, and come back and stop at the platform before then leaving again. First things first, we're going to have to get these out of the packet, and they've promised me they're simple, and we'll get on and install them. Right, so I have installed the shuttle system, and the 2 points are there, just where the theoretical station will be. Lulu has given me her ball, there you go. And I've got the 128 parcel van currently going round, and hopefully, fingers crossed, when it comes back round the garden, it will stop in the platform. So all being well, I'll put the magic that is the DCC Concepts shuttle system to the test, and we'll hopefully see it live. Now, as you can see, I've not got a controller. In fact, the controller's the other end of the layout, so if it goes frantically running off the end of the platform, I'm in trouble. Shuttle is coming back. All we need to do now is make sure it stops. So as it is coming behind me, this is going to be interesting. I've not done this before, genuinely, so I'm going to frantically get up really quickly if it doesn't work. Oh, and it's worked. So it's stopped right where it should have. It has stopped in the right place. It's not gone as far as I needed it to, but then I'm yet to set the CVs on this, so in theory, once it starts to go again, oh, it's moving. Oh, look at that. I'm not controlling that at all. That's weird. Well, I think that's working. I just need to have a play around with some of the CVs so it actually stops in the station. And yeah, well, automation. Look at that. That's a bit of fun, isn't it? Right, that's enough playing with trains. Time to get on with the station. As you can see, I'd roughly laid it in place. Now, I had a stroke of fortune because I discovered that there is a shop that commissioned O-gauge platforms. Now, these are the Bachmann Scenecraft stuff, which was a limited edition produced for a shop. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember who the shop are, but I'll put their name in the description with a link. And they're quite good value. Now, they are resin, so in theory they'll do well outside, and of course with the application of a bit of UV proof paint, they should go very well, and they'll literally be placed down. And of course you get straight bits, platform ramps, not too expensive. So the next job for me is to make the track fit around these platforms. I've got some buildings which I'll show you in a moment, but I want a run round loop for the moment, so I'm going to have to extend this platform section by about 6-7 foot, and that's what I'll do now. So you want that thrown for you, don't you? So I'm going to get on with that while throwing this for Lulu, and hopefully we're going to have a little montage and we'll have a station at the end of it. Come get it. Come get it. That was my finger, but yeah, there you go. Okay. So the station is in place, and I did say I had something rather special lined up for the buildings. Now, I have been in discussion with Double O'Neill, or Tristram, as some of you may know him, on his YouTube channel, link in the description, and he has done me some very, very nice resin buildings. Now, it all started with a couple of line-side huts that you can see here, which I was dot around the layout. Now, these are quite small, but still quite impressive because they're row gauge, and I said to him, could you do something bigger, like a station building? And lo and behold, as you can see behind me, he's constructed a 3D printed, a resin 3D printed station building for me. Now, in theory, this should last fine outside. I will take it inside when I'm not using the railway. However, I think it looks rather good, and I'm quite blown away by the quality, to be honest. There's no seams like you'd get on a scratch-built building, and it all comes apart quite nicely as it's been put together. So I think they'll look the part on the Garden Railway. And of course, he's done me some new Junction station signs. Right, time to put these in position. So that's the end of this video. I think you'll agree the station has come on and the railway is starting to really take shape, especially now I've tackled a lot of the bumps and problems in the track. There are a few improvements, obviously, I'll do to this now off camera, but I think I can call this the end of part one, or phase one, for the Garden Railway, which is basically this first loop. I've left a bit of a gap with the track away from the platform because eventually, who knows, I'd like to carry on the loop so I can have trains rushing around the garden, and of course I want a bit of space. However, that's for another year, another project. So with this complete, I will update you once it's finished. However, it's now time to go into the garage, you'll be glad to know, for more 00 gauge and new Junction. So, as ever, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye for now.